In today's video, I'll be going through Zayne's birthday event. This includes all 4 chapters of the event and the full date of Eternal Attachment. I originally live streamed this, but due to audio issues and undesired interruptions, I've decided to re-record my narration. If you would like more memory narrations or more narrations of anything in the game, please let me know in the comments. Let's go ahead and get started with Zayne's birthday event. As the doctor shift draws to a close, I bump into people I know from Oxo Hospital. I'm waiting in the hospital corridor for Zayne to return from checking in with one of his patients. Zayne's birthday is coming up, and I use this opportunity to ask them about how Zayne celebrated his birthday before. 2 years ago, there was an emergency operation on Dr. Zayne's birthday. He worked all night. And if I'm not mistaken, the same thing happened last year, right? He was working overtime in the operating room.
I checked Dr. Zayne's schedule for you. Looks like he'll be spending his birthday this year in the operating room again.
I'm not surprised. For Zayne, helping people and saving lives is more important. Of course, I understand why. However, I can't help but feel a little sad. It only happens once a year. I still want to give him an unforgettable birthday no matter what. Seeing my expression, Yvonne and Grayson look sympathetic.
The chief surgeon's schedule is very packed.
If push comes to shove, you may have to reschedule any plans you have for that day, but you can have dinner with him at least.
What are you talking about? Are you going to have dinner together?
While I'm lost in thought, Zayne, who finished his work, walks over to us. No, we were talking about the new restaurant that just opened nearby.
Right. I'm grabbing dinner with some friends. I need to get going.
Oh, the head nurse was asking for me just now. We'll talk later.
They wink at me before running away.
So, did you decide what you're having for dinner?
Zayne walks up to me, a spark of curiosity in his eyes.
Well, we have a doctor whose shift just ended. He's hungry, has no plans tonight, and none of his colleagues want to hang out with him.
I take a step and grab his right hand, but just as I'm about to speak, I notice the fleeting pain expression on his face. What's wrong? Where does it hurt? Zayne shakes his head, gives me a reassuring smile, and presses his right wrist with his left hand.
Let's talk in my office. I'm okay. I suspect it's simply an instance of tenosynovitis.
Is it serious? What kind of treatment do you need?
Don't worry. It's merely a guess, not a real diagnosis. I just need to rest. That's why I'll be staying at home for the next few days.
My worry from earlier changes into excitement when I learn he'll be at home. If Zayne is taking a few days off, that means he'll have time to celebrate his birthday.
Wait here. I need to get some documents to take home.
You still have work to do?
Not really. They're just regular files.
I put my hand on top of his as he's picking up those papers. If it's not urgent, just leave it here. Taking work home doesn't count as resting. His hand pauses, and then he silently lets go of the documents.
All right. I won't bring any with me.
I can't believe Zayne doesn't resist. Docile, he follows me out of the office. Once we're in the car, I find myself wanting to tease him. You're so cooperative today. Is there a catch? As I speak, my fingers glide over to his coat pocket. The corners of Zayne's mouth curls up as he slowly raises his hands.
What should I do to regain some credibility? Will a thorough body search suffice?
You're the one who works overtime on your birthday every year, not to mention you bring home work like it's normal. You're dedicated to your profession, Dr. Zayne, but doesn't taking a break help with work performance? My hands slip into his pockets. I take this chance to grab his waist and squeeze it.
Is this the standard protocol for a hunter's body search?
I usually deal with wanderers. As for this, I only do it to one person. My hand slides out of his pockets, and I touch his back.
What sort of clothing would have pockets on one's back?
This is my special technique. Do you have a problem with it, Dr. Zayne? A hint of playfulness appears in his eyes as he leans in. My hands are able to touch him even more.
Not at all. Your technique is methodical. It's very reassuring.
Being so close to each other, we lock eyes. The warmth in our gazes inadvertently intensifies. All right, you're good to go. No suspicious items here. When I move back, Zayne suddenly grabs my hand.
Surely, I'm not the only one who needs to be checked.
With his other hand, he taps a corner of my mouth.
Ever since someone heard I would be required to rest for a few days, a smile has been glued to her face.
Was it that obvious? I can't reveal my plan now. I've been thinking about visiting you to make sure you're actually resting.
You'll be doing it every day then?
Is that not okay? Zayne's tone becomes noticeably more cheerful.
It's exactly what I wanted.
The next day, afternoon sunlight filters through the sheer curtains. A soft, hazy light creates a tranquil atmosphere in the living room. I'm sitting next to Zayne, massaging his wrist with techniques I learned online. They supposedly can alleviate tendinovitis. Is this okay? Should I be more gentle?
It's good. Perfect, in other words.
Great! Staying up all night to practice on Fleecy wasn't in vain then. I basically needed the stuffing out of it.
My hand won't meet the same fate as the Fleecy, correct?
I unconsciously use a bit more force. Isn't that better than actually getting tendinovitis? As I continue my massage, my mind starts to think about something else. Aside from supervising Zayne's rest, I'm also here to look for an idea for his birthday present. I watched an interview last night where someone went around and asked, what was the most unforgettable present you received? The answers were all over the place though. So how would you respond to that question? Zayne lowers his eyes to look at me. The moment he's about to say something...
Mr. Zayne, correct? Here's your international parcel. Please sign for it.
Thank you.
Zayne returns to the living room with the package in his arms. It appears to be very heavy.
It's from my parents. I believe this should be my birthday present.
Unexpectedly, the words birthday present come out of his mouth. It seems like my plan was doomed from the start. I honestly thought you were the type to be so busy that you'd forget your own birthday.
I used to rely on the gifts my parents sent to serve as a reminder.
He pauses, and a hint of amusement flickers across his face.
This year, however, someone has been giving me early reminders. She's also been more proactive about it compared to my parents, so it's been impossible for me to forget.
I guess my attempt at beating around the bush is just a blatant clue to Zayne.
Are you still curious about my answer to that interview question?
Zayne takes out a wooden box from the back of his closet. It's filled with a variety of gifts from various countries. Are these all from your parents? Zayne's parents, members of doctors worldwide, can always be found in the most perilous locations all over the world.
They've developed a habit of collecting local specialties and sending them to me a few days before my birthday. Sometimes, it's only through these presents that I know where they've been.
I flip over a small card that's hanging from the ear of a colorful winged elephant. It says, colorful elephants chase away the monsters in your nightmares.
It represents a mythical creature from that region's folklore.
Were you also afraid of nightmares when you were little? How cute. Do you still have nightmares even with this colorful elephant as your guardian? A fleeting darkness reveals itself in Zayne's eyes, but before I can react, his gentle smile dispels the gloom.
Nightmares can't be chased away. I simply stopped fearing the monsters that lurk in them.
This astronomical clock badge is pretty. The blue hippo is really cute too. Zayne opens the parcel and pulls out a somewhat worn black wood carving. It looks to be a plant-like totem.
My father wrote about this. He said an old chieftain carved it. It's to bless children so they grow up healthy. But I'm already an adult. How can I still grow?
In your parents' eyes, you'll always be a child. The dazzling gifts before me only make it more difficult to find the answer I'm looking for. I decided to ask him directly. Among all of these gifts, which would you consider unforgettable?
Each item here represents a story. It's not so much about the gift itself being memorable.
Zayne caresses the gifts inside the box, thinking about something.
When I was younger, on my birthday, my parents said to me, "The blessing given to you by the first stranger you meet on your birthday will come true and last for 1 whole year." They also took me to socialize with strangers on my birthday.
And then what? Did a stranger bless you? Did their blessings last a whole year? Seeing the curious look on my face, he laughs and ruffles my hair.
Now that I think about it, I think it's possible my parents just wanted me to socialize. I preferred to be alone as a child. To be honest, I don't quite remember if anyone has ever blessed me on my birthday, but I always held on to the sentiment. Perhaps it's because they couldn't be by my side for several years after that.
Zayne's gaze returns to the photo that's attached to the gifts. He's seemingly captivated by it. I stay quiet, knowing full well he misses his family. And I've already decided what gift to give Zayne. I want Zayne to receive a blessing from the first stranger he meets on his birthday. Taking advantage of the hospital's lunch break, I sit with Yvonne and Grayson in the corner of the cafeteria to strategize.
Ooh, are you throwing a birthday party? Can we join? We've always wanted to celebrate Zayne's birthday.
I do have a few spots in mind. I'd appreciate if you could let me know what you think about them. I swipe through the photos on my phone and show them various scenic spots I chose.
I've been to that villa before. It's nice.
A friendly voice comes from above. Holding a tray, a doctor with a wide smile stands at the table.
Do you mind if I join you guys? I never celebrated Zayne's birthday before.
This is Dr. Riley from Pediatrics. He's also well acquainted with Dr. Zayne.
Dr. Riley sits across from us and starts a conversation while we eat.
The mountain air is fresh, and the autumn scenery is very beautiful. The villa has a lot of utilities, too. It's perfect for hosting parties.
If we're okay with that place, I'll be happy to drive everyone there.
Then I'll prepare the decorations we'll need for the party.
And I'll order the birthday cake. All of us have our tasks now. To facilitate communication, I create a new chat group called Party Planning Pros. The next day, I successfully made a reservation, but while the party venue issue is solved, there's still one thing on my mind. How can I make sure Zayne receives a blessing from the first stranger he meets? I think and think as I go for a stroll in the forest near the villa. Sunlight seeps in through the gaps between the tree branches. Suddenly, a vintage food truck appears. From a flash of inspiration, an idea pops into my mind. Excuse me, can I rent out your truck on September 5th? It will just be for that morning. In the evening, Zayne invited me to have dinner with him at a restaurant near his place. The thought of the surprise I've prepared puts me in a good mood. When you asked if I had time to eat, I thought you were talking about eating at home.
At first, I was planning to cook, but then I'd probably be scolded for not resting.
Aren't you used to eating alone, Dr. Zayne? Why aren't you doing it now?
You know the answer to that.
He pushes the dish I like toward me, his expression tinged with concern.
Were you busy with today's missions? Will having dinner together make you feel more exhausted?
Lincoln City has been pretty peaceful lately, so I figured I'd use the time to find a place where you can truly relax and recuperate. Prepare yourself, we're going there September 4th. Zayne instantly understands the implications behind my words. His gaze is filled with mirth.
All right. I'll follow the doctor's orders in that case.
We set off for the villa the day before Zayne's birthday, and the party lasts until it's nighttime. As midnight approaches, I hold the little cake I made and walk into Zayne's room. Zayne stands on the balcony. Hearing me open the door, he turns around. It will soon be September 5th, but there's one last thing we should do. I place the cake on a small round table on the balcony. As I'm about to cut it, he gently grabs my wrist.
How can someone be this quiet before cutting a birthday cake?
I already took care of everything that's needed to be done during the party. The hand holding my wrist tightens its grip, which stops me from continuing.
This cake represents something else for me.
He looks at me, his gaze almost burning a hole through me as if he's hoping I'd give an answer.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we eat the cake?
The clock strikes midnight. It's officially September 5th. I initially planned to save my words for the surprise at dawn, but the look on his face moves me. I want to meet his expectations and give him the answer he's longed for. I asked your colleagues, and they said that for the past few years, you spent your birthday working. I pick up a match on the table and strike it so I could light the candles on the cake. It might be normal for doctors, especially for someone like you, since your parents are also doctors. And maybe for you, your birthday isn't as important as helping people and saving lives. In the flickering candlelight, Zayne and I exchange a look. But for me, your birthday is a very important day. It's one I don't want to miss. Although people say you shouldn't share your birthday wish, it'd be nice if you told me yours.
Will you make it come true if I do?
I'll try my best.
Thank you, but my wish is already in the process of coming true.
The candles might have been blown out, but their flickering light is etched in Zayne's eyes.
I prefer listening to you sing happy birthday. You promised me that I wouldn't miss another birthday. Does this mean I'll hear you sing happy birthday every year now?
Happy birthday, Dr. Zayne.
Dr. Zayne?
I still have more to say. Under the table, my right hand takes his left hand. Happy birthday, Zayne. From now on, I'll be by your side to celebrate your birthday, every year. Zayne smiles and gently touches my cheek with his right hand.
I'll hold you to your word. From now on, you must be by my side for my birthday.
Then his gaze lands on the cake.
Did you bake it yourself?
What do you think?
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's as though he's looking at a treasure.
You were busy planning the party and baking the cake. It must have been exhausting. And I just lounged around.
I cup his cheek and lean in to look into his eyes. Even if you are a doctor, you don't need to be responsible for everything. I hope that when you're just Zayne, you'll give others a chance to take care of you.
Such as right now.
I nod. He moves closer to me. Our breaths mingle. Zayne slightly opens his mouth, joy twinkling in his eyes.
Then can you feed me? Please.
I take a spoonful of the cake and feed it to Zayne. He purses his lips, and I can't help but feel nervous. Well, is it sweet enough for you?
It's delicious. However, it could be sweeter.
What? How? I even added extra sugar. It was a lot more than the recipe called for. Incredulous, I tried the cake myself. How is this cake not sweet enough? A bit of mischief flashes in Zayne's eyes.
Whether something is sweet or not is a subjective matter. Perhaps it's because I already tasted something sweeter.
I can't help but smile, then I purposely pretend to act serious. How troublesome. Zayne pauses.
What's the matter?
It's tough to go from gourmet desserts to simple ones. I guess it will be hard to find sweets that can satisfy your cravings in the future. Zayne smiles again, takes my hand, and hugs me.
Indeed. I'll have to rely on you when I want to eat something sweet.
He lowers his head and nuzzles me, his nose touching the side of my face.
Only when we're together do I taste the most satisfying sweetness.
As we're about to leave, messages are sent back and forth in the group chat named Party Planning Pros. My phone is buzzing every second. I've met with Dr. Riley and Yvonne. We'll arrive at Zayne's place in about an hour. We've got the cake and confetti both in the car. The villa's halfway up the hill. You guys go in first, and I'll keep him occupied before everything's ready. Make sure the gifts are hidden well. Don't let him notice them. What surprise gift did you prepare? Care to spill the beans? My idea for the gift was inspired by a story Zayne shared recently about his childhood. The blessing given to you by the first stranger you meet on your birthday will supposedly come true. This is what Zayne's parents told him when he was a kid. Just as I'm about to type "it should be confidential," my attention is drawn to a sudden noise coming from the bedroom next door. A keyboard? He injured his wrist, yet he's still typing away like that? I open the bedroom door and see Zayne sitting in front of his desk. His slender fingers swiftly dance across the keyboard, producing a constant click-clack sound. When he looks up and sees me, his body suddenly freezes. The hand that danced on the keyboard slowly rise and are clasped together. Then they rest against his chest.
Could you turn on your microphone, please? Let's do this via voice call.
Oh, sure, Dr. Zayne. No problem.
Glancing at me with a guilt-ridden expression, Zayne flexes his wrist that has a medicated patch on it. I point to his hand, then I make a knife with my fingers and draw it across my throat, just to show him how angry I am. Zayne touches his neck.
I see where the issue is. Thank you, Dr. Zayne.
Send me the revised plan the day after tomorrow. Goodbye.
Zayne turns off the microphone and carefully places the reports into a drawer. Then he looks in the direction of the door as I stand there with my arms crossed.
We're heading to the villa this afternoon, right?
Wrist injuries can be caused by repetitive activities that strain the tendons. If the patient doesn't get enough rest, his wrist will be injured again. Zayne rises from his seat and walks up to me. He then taps my arm with his index finger.
I don't have anything better to do when I'm alone in this room.
I take this chance to grab his index finger. In that case, get ready for a surprise.
Will it actually be a surprise?
If you don't like it, I'll improve it next year. Grayson picks me and Zayne up as planned. Together, we head to the mountain villa that was booked beforehand. As we approach our destination, the sky slowly darkens. Everyone's enjoying some casual chatter inside the car. I almost can't believe it's happening. Around this time last year, we were still pulling all-nighters in the operating room. It wasn't just last year. The same could be said for the year before. Well, this year is an exception with a long summer and a warm autumn. The icebergs in the polar regions might start melting. Zayne and I sit in the back seat. We observe the scenery outside as it quickly passes us.
Are they hinting at something?
I don't know. I guess it's global warming. Suddenly, a warm palm gently envelops my hand that's resting on the seat. I glance at Zayne, but he's watching the scenery outside the window. It's dim inside the car. Only the occasional streetlight casts fleeting shadows over our entwined fingers and the backs of our hands.
All right, we're here. You guys go on ahead. I'll park the car. By the way, Dr. Zayne, Dr. Riley asked me to tell you.
Grayson turns around and unexpectedly sees Zayne and my hand in the middle of the back seat. I feel the urge to pull back my hand, but Zayne remains composed. His palm doesn't move.
Why did you stop talking? Are you looking at something?
It's nothing. But isn't it crazy how hot the weather is this autumn? It feels even stuffier in here. Let's go somewhere else first.
Grayson hurries Yvonne out of the car, so Zayne and I are the only ones left. Opening the car door, I realize Zayne still hasn't let go of my hand. I turn my head, and our gazes meet. There's a hint of mirth in his eyes. The villa we booked is located halfway up the hill. The others have already left, vanishing in the blink of an eye. Zayne and I park the car. Following the woodland path, we walk side by side. Lights guide us to our destination. This place is so nice. It must be pretty during the day as well.
I haven't even asked anything yet. Is someone already spoiling tomorrow's plans?
At the end of the path lies a neatly trimmed field that stretches out before the villa. I purposely slow my steps so that Zayne can open the door. Why aren't you opening the door?
I have a feeling the moment I do, a surprise will rush towards me.
As Zayne pushes the door open, confetti descends and colorful paper strips fly through the air. Everything is going according to our plan.
Happy birthday, Dr. Zayne.
Happy birthday, Dr. Zayne!
Surrounding Zayne and me, everyone gathers in the center of the living room. A cake adorned with candles is brought over on a cart. And amidst the bustling commotion, someone places a birthday crown into my hand. I quietly place it on Zayne's head from behind.
Thank you, everyone. I genuinely didn't expect a surprise like this.
Zayne steadies the teetering crown and turns to look at me.
Who came up with this?
If you're not happy with the surprise, then we can say everything was all her idea. Go ahead. You can blame her if you want.
Okay, but we all prepared this cake. Also, Dr. Riley suggested the villa, Grayson was our designated driver, Yvonne took charge of the confetti, and I planned out everything. If we're really gonna play the blame game, then none of us can go scot-free.
Anyway, sharing is caring, and we have a delicious cake to share. Dr. Zayne, it's time to make a wish.
This is the day before his birthday, so it only counts as a teaser. Wishes should be saved for the actual day so they can come true, right?
Speaking of wishes coming true, I do have some experience in that. I once made a wish on an ordinary night, and that wish has since been fulfilled.
His gaze, gleaming with delight, lingers on my face for a moment before he looks at the cake.
Being too greedy might bring about unforeseen consequences. I'll hold on to my wish for now.
Accompanied by our cheers, Zayne begins to cut the cake. Everyone else claps and sings happy birthday for him. It's a simple song, but we sing it in a dreadfully disjointed manner. Fortunately, Zayne is an experienced surgeon. He manages to cut the cake perfectly while suppressing the urge to laugh.
I've been meaning to ask, Zayne, have you two known each other for a long time?
Our families are old acquaintances. We've known each other since we were children, so...
I see. I always thought you two became acquainted after you became her primary care physician.
Although we knew each other back then, the time we actually spent together during our childhood was very short.
He glances at me, the corners of his lips subtly curling up.
When we met for the first time as children, she seemed afraid of me.
How come?
You'll have to ask the person herself.
I meet Zayne's gaze. I did? Maybe it's because I rarely heard you talk. I thought you didn't like me. Everyone looks at Zayne and he pushes up his glasses.
And now?
Huh?
Do you still think I'm the same person I was back then?
Is this his revenge? No. I take another bite of the cake slice, enjoying the icing as it melts in my mouth. It's to be determined. A hand moves down, reaching out to me. The moment our hands touch, he grips mine tightly.
I suppose we still need to develop a deeper understanding of each other.
On the table is a pile of gifts for Zayne. The lively birthday party continues until midnight, and eventually everyone bids each other goodnight, making their way to their rooms. Zayne's room is on the 3rd floor. I carefully push open the door, holding the little cake I baked. Standing on the balcony, Zayne is bathed in moonlight. He's captivated by the moon's shimmering reflection on the distant lake's surface. Are you tired? He gestures for me to come closer, and we sit down on the balcony's chairs. I put the cake on the small round table next to us.
I should be the one asking that. You've been busy all day. Aren't you tired? To be exact, haven't you been busy for more than a day?
I don't feel tired at all. I'm just really happy. Everyone is also glad they can express their admiration for Dr. Zayne. Resting his chin on one hand, Zayne gazes at me, smiling.
So you went through all this trouble to ensure I receive more blessings.
I'll admit, I was worried you'd be overwhelmed with so many people celebrating your birthday. But the idea of you surrounded by genuine love and care on your birthday was too good to pass up. I look at him as moonlight casts a tender glow on his face.
It took me some time to adjust, but it wasn't long until I found myself slightly reluctant to let the night end.
But if the night doesn't end, we won't be able to celebrate your actual birthday. Smiling, Zayne pinches my cheek.
You've raised my expectations once again.
Does that mean your appetite has been whetted too? I push the little cake towards him.
My appetite is perfect for handling anything from you. I was about to record a video to send to my parents. Could you help me? Make sure to include the cake.
Zayne's parents are members of Doctors Worldwide. They're always in the most perilous locations and hardly have time for video calls. He mentioned he'd send a video to them every year on his birthday. It's his way of reassuring his parents that their son is okay. I tap the record button on my phone. Zayne looks at the camera, a slight smile on his lips.
Dad, Mom, it's been a while. I'm doing well. This year has been kinder to me than previous ones. It's because I'm not celebrating my birthday alone. Thanks to you and the people around me, I didn't forget that September 5th is my birthday. I wish you all the best. I'll make sure myself and those close to me stay in good health.
That's it?
Yes, you can stop it now.
I end the recording. recording. Oh, the video has me talking in it. I'll edit that part out for you.
There's no need to trouble yourself with that. Just send it. They already know you.
I send over the unedited video while Zayne begins to savor the small cake.
This is nice.
Are you talking about the cake I made?
The cake is nice. The scenery is nice. And the person sitting across from me is nice. Everything is wonderful.
In the distance, the moonlight covers the lake in its soft light. After finishing the cake, Zayne reveals a content expression. Then we stand next to each other in front of the balcony railing. Occasionally, a sweet, floral fragrance drifts through the air, though I can't tell what it is. You only said a few words to them, but deep down you think about your parents a lot, right?
Nothing more needs to be said. Knowing they're doing well is enough for me.
I remember that in my childhood, whenever someone praised Zayne, his parents would always say their only wish is for Zayne to be healthy. While he doesn't say it, I believe Zayne still longs for his parents to be around on his birthday in his heart. Wanting to cheer him up, I purposely let out a long sigh.
What is it?
I was thinking that it was a good thing you moved away when we were little. You're so remarkable with your achievements and so dependable. Who wouldn't shower you with compliments when they meet you? Hanging out with a prodigy like you can put a lot of pressure on the rest of us kids.
In other words, you're glad I moved away.
Sensing the playful tone in his voice, I use this opportunity to grab his chin. I don't use a lot of force, but it's enough to move his head toward me. But that prodigy still ended up in the palm of my hand. I can mess around with him now.
You thought I didn't like you when we were children. Is this true?
Yeah, you didn't know back then?
I remember... At the time, we went to the aquarium together, and you bought a sorbet there. The sorbet had food coloring in it. As you ate it, you grinned at me, and your whole mouth was orange. It was an amusing sight, but I turned my head away.
Why?
I also asked myself the same question. I'm not a timid person, honestly speaking. But back then, as I stood next to you, I always wanted to say something interesting. There were a few times when I finally figured out what to say, but you had already left.
I thought you were just a quiet kid, like one of those wind-up toys that needed a few turns before you could speak. I still felt that way when you gave me a little seal. I always thought it wouldn't be long before we could hang out again.
Being with you always led to unexpected things. It made me very happy every time.
I poke his face. You're not talking about things like a seal throwing an ice chunk at me, right?
Well, that is certainly one of them.
He holds my hand with a gentle grip.
If I had known we would be separated for years after that day, I would have made more happy memories with you. Even if it was just going to the aquarium, the amusement park, or anywhere else one more time.
He sealed away those unspoken secrets. It's like he placed them in an envelope with no stamps. And that unsent envelope rests in a drawer. It gradually yellowed as time passed. Do you still have those regrets even now?
Fortunately, all of them remain in the past. We grew up safely.
My heart feels tight and heavy. I hug him, and he freezes for a moment before leaning down to hug me back.
But now, I want to express my gratitude for fate. If there truly is a God who determines one's destiny in this world, I want to believe I've been blessed by that individual.
But I feel like destiny owes you so much more. With his chin resting on my shoulder, he shakes his head.
I can't be too greedy.
A birthday boy is allowed to be greedier than usual.
I'm already greedy with looking forward to the birthday gift you prepared.
His warm breath tickles my ear. Looks like someone, while not saying anything, has been thinking about his birthday gift this whole time.
Of course. It's only now that I realize my heart desires a lot of things.
When that familiar floral fragrance reaches me again, I recognize it. It's the scent of osmanthus flowers. Before heading back to my room, I secretly place a handwritten birthday voucher beside Zayne's pillow. It instructs him to head to the food truck near the villa tomorrow morning. A stranger eagerly awaits, wanting to be the first one to offer their heartfelt blessings on his birthday. The morning sun rises in autumn, its light filtering through the trees' shadows and bathing the forest in a pure golden hue. A small sign next to the food truck reads, "Open from 6 to 8 a.m. for Zayne."
Good morning.
You're here early, sir.
I happened to wake up early and found a birthday voucher beside my pillow. It said that someone who's celebrating his birthday could claim a gift here. I'd like to see what the stall owner prepared.
The gift isn't ready yet, but I've prepared something else.
Is this another one of your little tricks?
Don't wipe it off. This is an important birthday blessing.
Your hand behind your back. Is it holding another important blessing?
Are you going to refuse my blessings?
I already used my birthday voucher. I'll take whatever you have. What an important blessing. I must share it with you.
Give me a moment, sir. Your birthday present is ready. Here's your special birthday cookie. The stall owner put a lot of effort to make it.
Considering the stall owner's exceptional baking skills, is one enough?
I haven't added the frosting yet.
I like it as it is. Thank you. The falling osmanthus flowers are beautiful. Thank you for bringing me out here to relax. After this surprise, would the stall owner like to join me in viewing the flowers?
Hold on, there's another very important thing.
Which is?
Happy birthday, Mr. Zayne. Falling osmanthus flowers fill parts of the sky. Zayne and I stroll through the woods and admire the beautiful blossoms. Dr. Zayne, would you say your whetted appetite has been satisfied today?
With blessings that remain in effect for a year, how could I not be satisfied?
Did you actually believe that when you were a kid?
I don't remember. After all, the first stranger I met isn't the person who's next to me right now.
He turns his head, a gentle smile on his face.
But I'll believe it today, and continue to do so in the future.
The autumn breeze rustles the trees and showers us with golden osmanthus flowers. But I'm still not satisfied. If we grew up together, I would have celebrated over a dozen birthdays with you just like today.
In that case, I would have probably had a special box to keep all those presents from you.
Children tend to give stickers and pens. A box would be too big.
But there would have been more birthday presents in the future. How do you know whether they could fill the box or not?
The gentler his expression becomes, the more I want to make up for a certain regret. If only you hadn't moved.
If I didn't, would you visit me more often?
I'd knock on your door like always, and then ask if you're home, and if you wanted to hang out.
Then I would have said there were fireworks at the beach, and asked if you wanted to go.
I would have followed you all the way there, holding your sleeve because I'm afraid of getting lost. Then there would be a wet spot on your clothes because of my sweaty hand.
In that case, I would have suggested we hold hands, if you were okay with it.
He takes my hand. Without any hesitation, I intertwine my fingers with his.
Then under the moon of that night, I'd look at my shadow for a long time on my way home. My heart would keep beating faster than usual. Anxiety, joy, regret. I'd feel all of those and think that I should have asked you in person if you were happy. If you said yes, maybe I could continue asking you to play with me.
Enveloped by the osmanthus flower's sweet scent, we stop in our tracks at the same time and lock eyes. Then I'd ask, choosing my words carefully, that you don't date other people for a while because I would be an adult soon.
I would have circled your birthday on a calendar then.
And once we're adults, I'd wait for you to ask me out to dinner or a movie, like how grown-ups do.
Before that, I would have seen the first snowfall of the year with you.
Would you confess your feelings at that time?
What do you think?
And then it'd be your birthday. After celebrating it with me and some close friends, you'd ask me on the balcony. If you had moved away with your parents as a kid, would we have never seen each other again? In this world of gold that we're in, he stands and smiles at me.
How would you answer that question?
I'll say that you'll meet those who you're destined to meet. He leans down to hug me, as if a form of confirmation.
Fortunately, we grew up.
You grew up into Dr. Zayne and Mr. Zayne.
But for one person in particular, I'm just Zayne.
Happy birthday, Zayne. I hope every year in the future brings you happiness.
They say making a wish on your birthday has a greater chance of coming true, correct? I just made one.
You can't say all of your wishes out loud. They won't come true.
All right. I'll share the wish that's destined to happen. I wished that in the years to come, I won't have to imagine spending every day of my life with someone.
He slightly shifts away from my shoulder, turning his head to meet my gaze. Sparkling in his eyes is a gentle mischief.
You must be curious. Who could I possibly be referring to?